What's up, everyone? I'm back with Coach Johnston. My name's Grant Cohn. Today, I'm quality control. Other days, I'm other things. But today, we're going to be talking the draft for the Niners and then big picture NFL stuff, which is what Coach and I usually talk about. But first, we got to give you some Niners stuff. And Jack Hammer brought this up yesterday on the roundtable. I thought it was brilliant. If the Niners don't take Mac Jones, where's he going? It seems like everyone's penciling him to the top 5 because of the Niners. I'm not sure that any other team likes him as much. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. In your opinion, if the Niners take Justin Fields, Kyle Pitts, someone else at 3, what's going to happen to Mac Jones on draft night?
I don't know. I can see him falling. He could fall into the 20s, or
that's what I think.
There's so much uncertainty with the draft, and we see things happen all the time that we don't know, we don't expect. Like, who would have thought Aaron Rodgers would fall that far? I mean,
that's right.
Lamar Jackson. I mean, you just
people who are young and don't remember the Aaron Rodgers thing, that was shocking at the time. The lead up to the draft, he was number 1 for a long time, and then Alex Smith passed him. I want to say like in the combine process, and then everyone kind of thought Aaron Rodgers would go 3, 4, something like that, and then it was 20 something.
Yeah, even to some extent, Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson was a pretty proven product. I mean, there was some expectation that Mitch Trubisky would jump him, but then it actually did happen, and
yeah,
it was a little bit shocking. And then Patrick Mahomes jumped him. I mean, crazy in the draft. Like, you just don't know. And Mac Jones could easily fall down into the 20s.
Now, the team's most likely to take him if the Niners don't. I mean, you could look at Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta is going to take Mac Jones.
I think people are. Yeah, I don't see Atlanta do anything quarterback front, because they just restructured Matt Ryan's contract. And if you take a quarterback that high after he just restructured for you, like, that
doesn't make sense.
Good faith. It doesn't really make sense. I'm pretty sure part of that restructure deal is like, listen, I'll restructure, but like, are you going to take quarterback?
Don't do what you did to Aaron. Don't do what the Packers did to Aaron Rodgers. I was on a Falcons podcast a couple of days ago, and the way that guy looked at it was they need to trade down. They have the worst defense in the league, and the Niners trading up for potentially taking Mac Jones is the best news ever for the Falcons, because now their number 4 pick is worth more theoretically if Justin Fields is there or something like that.
It's trade down, and your consolation prize there would be Penei Sewell or Kyle Pitts.
Absolutely. Okay, so not Atlanta. And then you look at Carolina. Well, Detroit. Would Detroit take Mac Jones? I don't think so. You already have Jared Goff. There's Carolina, but they just traded for Sam Darnold. I mean, I kind of like Sam Darnold better than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
So
I like Kellen Mond better than Mac Jones.
Yeah. So do I. So not Carolina. And then you look down to like New England. New England could take him at 15, or they could take Davis Mills in round 3 or round 2. I just feel like the reason people are mocking Mac Jones so high is because of the 49ers. And if for some reason they don't take him, all of a sudden, who else likes him that much? He could really drop. That'd be very, very interesting. So that's another reason for the Niners not necessarily to make that pick.
He could be the guy that the media has been hyping up, that in GM, not really, he's not a guy.
How many college winners, national champions, quarterbacks with really limited skill sets have been drafted that high? I mean, none since Matt Leinart.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of limited skill sets. I mean, I tweeted something about who like Alex Smith is Mac Jones was Mac Jones, right? Like, the Niners took Alex Smith over Aaron Rodgers, over the guy with all the talent. I mean, Alex Smith was an intelligent, accurate passer with athletic ability on a undefeated team.
Yeah. And even Alex Smith was a better athlete than Mac Jones.
Yeah, he's a better athlete than Mac
Jones in his day. Dr. Chaz, well, I can't say that, but Dr. Chaz says Jones to the Broncos. Is he an upgrade over Drew Lock?
Right. Plus, you got to think, if he's running the Broncos, it's John Elway. Is John Elway going to take a guy that's like doesn't have the arm?
Not physically gifted. Elway's constantly enamored by the 6'5", 6'6" dude who runs and throws hard and isn't good, but that's what he likes.
Right.
Okay. So part 2 of this question. So we both agree that if the Niners do the right thing and don't take Mac Jones at 3, he could really drop. So, okay, let's say he drops to 20 something. And the Niners, let's say the Niners take Kyle Pitts at 3 or Penei Sewell, a non-quarterback. And Mac Jones is dropping past the Patriots, past Washington football team, 20, 24, 28. Do the Niners make a move up and get him? I mean, they have the 2nd round pick, the 3rd round pick, Jimmy Garoppolo. They have some ammunition. Do you think if they pass on Mac Jones at 3 and he falls into the 20s, that could be the ace up their sleeve? They go up and get him there.
They could. I just don't.
You didn't even like that.
If they made this trade, they're doing it for a quarterback. I think the thing with quarterbacks, it's like you pretty much you don't. There's a limit on guys that you really like, and I think that they have an idea of someone who they like. It's like you don't. They're not going to pass on. They're not going to try to play games with the draft board. Like if the guy's there that they like at number 3, they're going to take him.
And they basically said there's 3 guys in the quarterback in this draft that they like, right? And they at number 3, you're guaranteed one of them. That's what they said.
Yeah. And that's limited, I think, because I don't think in most drafts that teams are, we'd love 3 quarterbacks in the draft. I just I think if the Niners did that, I mean, I would rather, if they were going to do that, I'd rather them trade back into the first and get Kellen Mond. That's
me too, absolutely. But I'm just okay. Like, let's take Mac Jones out of it now, because forget neither of us really like Mac Jones that much. He's fine. Let's say they do the unthinkable. They don't take a quarterback at 3, and then you have so many good options after. That's why I love this option. You could do Mac Jones if he drops, or you could target Kellen Mond, or a lot of people like Davis Mills, a lot of people like Kyle Trask. 4 guys that are intriguing. Pick one that you like, as opposed to one of the 4 at the top of the board that are
and
arguably the same.
If they did do that, I mean, I would definitely take Sewell over Pitts. I think just because
interesting.
Sewell plays a premium position.
That's true.
You got quarterback, and then you've got pass rusher, pass protector. I mean, think about it in this way: like the value as you get later in the draft. Like I'm more likely to find a tight end that can do something close, relatively close to something that Pitt does. You're probably not going to find an offensive tackle that's going to do something relative close to what Sewell. I mean,
that's interesting. I look at it differently. I look at like Sewell being great at a premium position. I look Pitts being like generational. I don't think there's been a prospect tight end to come out of college like him in 25 years. I can't remember one.
He's definitely phenomenal, but I just don't value receiving anything.
Fair. Now, we've talked a lot about how the middle of the field is wide open. I feel like the reason you're seeing guys like Kelsey and Kittle lead the league in receiving is because of that. And this is a guy who could be the next really, take advantage of that.
He could.
Yeah. But Sewell's great too. I mean, what I keep saying about Sewell is he would go number 1 a lot of years. Number 1. If there wasn't a Trevor Lawrence. And he could go number 1 this year if there wasn't a Trevor Lawrence. So that would be a solid pick. If the Niners have Trent Williams and Penei Sewell in the same line, I swear Jimmy Garoppolo could play well. He could do it.
It wouldn't be that terrible to say, hey, like, Sewell, you're going to learn under Trent Williams. Trent, we know you got a couple years after that. We'll swap Sewell over to left tackle. McGlinchey, you'll go to the Colts. Thanks.
If you put Jimmy Garoppolo behind Sewell and Williams and give him the weapons that were all hurt last year, how could he miss? How could he lose? Same with Josh Rosen. I really think – I know you feel like you need a Hall of Fame quarterback. I know you do. But the Niners are so close to assembling like a Hall of Fame supporting cast, and I think that's valuable too. I mean, it's right there for them if they want it. It's right there.
I think they need a top 10 quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I think they need a top 10 quarterback to win. They can win 10, 11 games and make the playoffs with a Jimmy Garoppolo or something along that mid-tier level. All
I'm saying is like Matt Ryan isn't always a top 10 quarterback. I mean, like some years he feels like he's top 5, and other years he feels like he's outside. And the difference is what he's working with that year, his teammates, basically, my opinion.
Yeah, he's defensively.
Chad says, if Alex Smith sat behind a Hall of Famer, then we would be saying the same about A-Rod. Aaron Rodgers' ego is too big for Nolan and Singletary. Well, now we're going way deep into history. Yeah, there's probably something to that. He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I know my dad didn't really like him, He was a Cal. My dad was covering him, and
the other thing people forget about the whole Rodgers thing, and
yeah,
it's something that if I was a field supporter, which I'm not, if I was a field supporter, I would bring up is that people didn't like Rodgers. One of the big reasons was he was a Jeff Tedford guy, and all these Jeff Tedford quarterbacks had failed. Achilles Smith, Joey Harrington,
Trent Dilfer. Did he count? I think Tedford was at Florida State, Fresno State for that.
Personality,
and then David Carr.
Yeah, personality side, that was a big thing with
huge. Kyle Bowler. Kyle Bowler had just busted.
Right.
Yes.
So, like, that's what I would bring up.
Plus, he held the ball in his ear.
Yeah.
He put the tip of the ball in his ear like he was listening to a conch shell. It was crazy.
Those are the things like I think we've talked about in our cast before. It's like, what can you correct, and then what can you, and then what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're both in favor of this. I love one by one bringing people onto my show and getting them to be like, well, it actually would make sense to take someone other than a quarterback. It wouldn't be. I mean, I get it. I understand no one really thinks it's going to happen, but maybe if I can get Kyle Shanahan on the show, I can get him to be like, you know what? Actually, it's not a bad idea.
I'm not necessarily in favor. I would tell you if they kept the 12, I would have been a proponent of them moving back and maybe getting monitored. At this point, I think they got to get it.
But who do you want to take it 3 though?
I'm going under the assumption that Wilson is going to go 2.
Okay.
In which case, I would go Trey Lance.
Okay. You're not a big Fields guy, are you?
No, although I wouldn't I'm not going to break my TV if drafted 3 or anything. I think the one thing I probably would have said, I would be upset if they take Mac Jones at 3. I wouldn't be a big fan of that.
I hope they take Mac Jones because I just want to see the Niner fans get upset.
I think your perfect draft would be the Jets. The Jets take Justin Fields, and then they go nuts. They go nuts because they passed on Zach Wilson, and then the Niners take Mac Jones.
Oh, that would be so good, so good. But we can only hope. All right, let's move on. That's enough quarterback talk for the day. All right, or not. In general, misinformation before the draft. Like I'm over here trying to put together a YouTube channel and an SI channel, and like anytime something happens, I got to write about it or talk about it. But sometimes it's dumb. Like yesterday, the whole Sam Darnold thing that went on for about 12 hours, maybe 24, and I was like, no, I know this is dumb. This is so dumb. I'm not going to write about it or talk about it. But then I did, and then instantly it's like, oh yeah, it's debunked. It was wrong. It's like,
there's as much misinformation out there as there is information. Like. I think back to when they were talking about the Matt Stafford trade, and there was rumors that the Detroit Lions passed on the Carolina offer for the 6th pick in the draft for the Rams. Why? That doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense. Like, why would the Jets pass up a first for Sam Darnold? I mean, because of the concerns over Zach Wilson's shoulder, I would just take the first and be like, all right, I'll take somebody else. I mean,
it made no sense to try to figure out the logic. Hurt my brain, and I was getting DMs from people like in my network at SI being like, hey, you gonna write about this? I was like, about what? What do you mean? It doesn't make any sense. They would turn down a first and then 2 weeks later turn around and trade him for a future 2. That's dumb. The Jets aren't dumb. We just think the Jets are super dumb.
Yeah, I watched a video. I think it was Matt Hasselbeck who was told back in the Matt Jones draft. He has a friend in the Giants, and that friend told him that there's no way we're taking Daniel Jones. And he Hasselbeck reported it, and then they take Massel Jones. So he felt a little slighted because his friend lied to him. So
man.
If a friend can lie to a friend, you don't think these guys can lie to reporters?
Yeah, I mean, it's not their prerogative to tell the truth. Their job, these people in the organization, their job is to protect their organization and get the best player available. And the way to do that is to lie.
Right.
You're not under oath.
Or maybe the Niners called the Jets about Sam Darnold, and the Jets said, hey, you got to give us a first. And then the Niners said, oh, man, we'll get back to you. And then that got reported as, the Niners were thinking about for offered a first. But really it was the Jets came back with the offer. But so, I don't believe half of what's out there.
Yeah. Michael Mock says you can have the best quarterback in the league and still fall short. Look at Mahomes in the last Super Bowl. Invest in O-line, Sewell at 3. God, you are preaching to the choir. I love the people I have converted.
All right, a couple things there. Mahomes was missing 2 of his left side and his right side.
Don't listen to him, Michael. Don't listen to him, Michael.
And if you watch that Super Bowl, I mean, Mahomes was the best player in that.
He was so good. That throw he made when he was falling, it looked like a shortstop trying to get a bunt and then diving on it was amazing. Any sport, that throw would have been crazy.
Yeah, he's so amazing. I don't know if the Chiefs would have won that game if they had their offensive line together, but it would have been a close game. It would have been tight.
We're not saying they should trade Patrick Mahomes for an offensive lineman. We're not saying that. If you can get Patrick Mahomes, great. I just don't think that the Niners are getting Patrick Mahomes at 3 this year. If I'm wrong, then you can fire me as quality control. You can just take it off my back. I swear. I just don't think it's going to happen.
The percentages say they probably
won't.
It's possible, but they could. It's possible that guy is out there.
It's possible the guy's out there. I mean, no one really thought Mahomes was going to be Mahomes except for a few people. But Michael Mock, great comment. Ryan Braunstein, also a good one. Grant, what are your thoughts on Pitts going 3? I haven't talked about this recently. Going with Jimmy G this year. Look, it's the same concept. You need a great quarterback. But Jimmy's shown good stuff. Josh Rosen was a top 10 pick who just turned 24 and has a cannon. Maybe if you put him behind a real all-star team, either one of those guys could play like a top 10 quarterback or like look elite enough to win a Super Bowl. Jimmy came close. I don't know. I'm a huge Jimmy Garoppolo fan all of a sudden, only if he's playing with Kyle Pitts or Penei Sewell, though.
Right. The other thing is this really an all-star team? Like, let me ask you a question. I mean,
Sewell makes it interesting. Pitts makes it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the draft is going to change. Depending on the outcome of the draft, it's going to change it. Not necessarily just at the quarterback position, because if you think about it like this, how much better does this roster, and if they draft any of these quarterbacks, does the roster really get that much better? I don't know. I think the quarterback move is not a move for this year. It's a move for the next couple of years.
Which bugs me. Because it's like, man, you just made a ton of win now moves. You're theoretically on the doorstep, not quite there. Sewell or Pitts could put you over the top, and you could ride with Jimmy, Rosen, and a second-round pick or a late first at quarterback. That's intriguing, but no, you're going to go all in for a quarterback like maybe Trey Lance, who's not going to be ready to play until 2022. Okay, good luck, man. At least you have those extensions.
I look at it a little differently. Like, if you're going to get a quarterback ready, like let's make him really as comfortable as he can in that first year. You protect his blind side, give him some weapons. Sure. That first year, developmental football a lot easier than the normal of first year, where you're throwing him out there and he's throwing to nobody and getting his tail kicked in like Joe Burrow.
It's true. I mean, it seemed like a no-brainer pick for the Bengals until Joe Burrow got hurt, and it was like, oh, dang, maybe we didn't set him up for success. What a concept. Oh, wait, hold on. Kevin says, John Middlecoff heard from his sources that the Broncos are in on Jimmy G. The guy who leaked the first-rounder, Darnold, is a Broncos beat reporter.
Yeah, I mean, there's always –
Is Jimmy Garoppolo an upgrade over Drew Lock? Maybe.
I don't know.
Why would the Broncos want him?
To me, I think it's damaged goods, and he's injured and he's expensive. Like, if Jimmy wasn't injured, I think he would be. If he was this whole injury stigma behind him, I think he would be a commodity. But the fact that he has a history of being injured, like, I'm gonna give this guy all this money and then invest draft capital in the fact that you're trading a pick for a guy that might not play for me.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Here's a question specifically for you. Unfortunately, I get the money. Coach Johnston, how much differently would we view Fields if he had the DUI and not Jones? NFL is a microcosm of society. I think this is a bigger topic that's not being discussed.
Yeah, I think that Fields had the DUI, they'd be all over him. It's just
there's like no question about it, right?
Yeah, it's a skin color thing, like because Mac Jones is definitely getting a pass because he's white, and yeah, Fields had that. it'd be one of the top stories. I don't knock Fields necessarily because of. I mean, I think he seems to me like he's a great kid. He's an intelligent kid. I just don't think from what I see on the football field, I don't necessarily think that he's going to have success. He could in the NFL. That's just my opinion. But yeah, you're onto something there. And
real quick, I feel like the media loves Justin Fields, though. I mean, there have been some people in the media that have been critical of him, and they got a lot of publicity because of all the pushback that they experienced afterward. I think Justin Fields is the media's favorite quarterback. I mean, other than Trevor Lawrence.
He might be.
I don't know that the league seems a little lukewarm about him and like afraid to say it. It's like every time they leak how they feel, people are like, the league is racist. Like, okay, we're not going to say it. But if he drops on draft day, just know why.
He might be the most polarizing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you're either here or you're here on Justin Fields. Like, and there's like super extremes to it.
It's crazy. It's like the Kaepernick thing all over again.
I have a question for you and Mike about quarterbacks. Is which quarterback do you think would have the biggest chip on their shoulder? The biggest to walk in with that Tom Brady out of the guys that you think are gonna go in like the first round?
I mean, how could you possibly have a chip on your shoulder when a team traded 3 picks to get you? It's impossible. You can't be like, hey man, no one believed in me. I dropped. No one thought I would be good. Like, no, the Niners are mortgaging. They're betting. Everyone in the Niners organization is betting their careers on you, man. It's hard to have a chip on your shoulder. How do you do that? Now, the thing about Trey Lance is it seems like he has it. Like people, but again, I mean, if he's the number 3 pick in the draft, goodbye. Dude. I don't know. I don't think you can have it. Put yourselves in the shoes of a 20-year-old who just got, a $30 million signing bonus and a team said, you're great, and we traded up for you. It's a pretty heady time.
There might be something to that why there hasn't been success in the first.
I don't think the Patriots would ever do something like that because they want players who have a chip on their shoulder, like Cam Newton, things to prove. And it's just a lot like what the Niners did with Jimmy Garoppolo. You were anointing him before he's done anything. Jimmy, we need you. Jimmy, we love you. 5 games, here's $130 million. We believe in you. Like, okay, there's nothing left for him to prove, though. Human nature here. Think about it. That's what I'm saying. Good question, though. Good question.
Definitely something to it. And I think there's another thing that people are missing out about is that whoever this guy is, and if they expect him to start, he's going to have to walk in from day one and look veterans in the eye like
it's my team.
Trent Williams, and this is my team, and make them believe that they can win.
Yes. And that's the thing. If it's Trey Lance, dude, I have no idea who you are. Never heard of you. Never seen you play. North Dakota, great. If it's Justin Fields, I think a lot of these players are excited about him. They've seen him. It might be easier, but again, if Justin Fields, they might like him. If he struggles in training camp, they won't like him.
Right. He's gonna have to come in.
You got to play.
He's gonna have to have some kind of command. The stories that came out. Russell Williams stepped in, and he immediately showed a command of the huddle.
Mental aspect is biggest for Fields over Jones. Faithful love him and will give him chances. Jones plus 1 mistake equals mental breakdown. Fans will crucify him. Maybe. I think it's interesting about Mac Jones. Graduated college in 3 years and completed his master's already. So he seems like a driven, smart guy. I mean, I think people are being very hard on Mac Jones because for whatever reason, I mean, there's a whole mob of people who have Justin Fields back. There's no one who has Mac Jones back. He made mistakes when he was a kid. A lot of people make mistakes. It seems like he's very driven and maybe those things helped him become the guy he is. I don't know. I'm just saying, graduated in 3 years, has a master's. Maybe be open-minded about him.
Right. I don't think that any of these quarterbacks are going to really necessarily fail the intelligence test. I mean, like you just said, Mac Jones graduated in 3 years. Justin Fields had offers from Harvard.
I heard he got a 29 in the ACT, which is legit.
Right.
That's hard.
I mean,
yeah.
Trey Lance had offers from I think Brown and Cornell. So it's like
these
guys are all intelligent human beings.
Yeah.
That's not going to be an issue.
And then you have Kellen Mond, who's the greatest quarterback of them all. So, I mean, really a nice group this year. Sean says, or maybe reporters lie. I know, no way. Crazy talk. What do you think about the guy coaching Lance and Fields? Inside track for Kyle. John Beck. Very interesting how Kyle set that up.
Yeah, it is. It's possible. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to draft said prospect. What it might mean is at the time he wanted more information, so go see my guy so I can get more information and so that I can make my decision.
Remember, Shanahan got himself in trouble for not taking. It wasn't just that he didn't take Watson and Mahomes. It's that he admitted he didn't really do his homework on him. He was like, look, it was my first year. We wanted Cousins. I didn't really study him much. And that was, I think, the worst part about it. This year, if he's like, yeah, I took Mac Jones, but I mean, I did my homework. My guy was with these guys for months, and I really like him. I like Trey Lance. I like Justin Fields, but that's how much I like Mac Jones. I'm telling you.
If Shanahan learns and he can adapt, right? Because if he can learn and adapt, it's going to make him a better coach. I mean, I think there's been discussion on Twitter about Shanahan's reluctance to adapt. We have seen him do. He has adapted. We've talked about before. I think when his first year, I think you criticized him a lot for his only running outside zone, and then in 2019 he started using gap schemes and varying his run game. So he has shown some
no doubt,
some ability to adapt and change. Now if he changes his stance he can change his stance on quarterback. We'll see this year. That will show big growth if he does do that. He show growth in moving on from Jimmy. So that's another thing. But we'll see. I mean, I think the best coaches do adapt. I think
yes.
Look at Saban, right? Saban was a run first, let's play defense guy, and he was getting his tail handed to him, and he was like, all right, I got to change or I'm going to lose. And he changed the way they think about defense, and he changed the way they thought about offense. And now look, they're Alabama again.
Yeah. If Sewell is the end game, do you see them trading down, getting picks back for number 3, and maybe getting Sewell at 5+? Looking at back for number 3. I don't see him moving down for number 3. And here's the thing. I'm telling you, you don't know what the Falcons are planning at 4. They're not necessarily in the market for a quarterback. They could take Sewell. They could take Pitts. And the fact that the Niners traded ahead of the Falcons gets my tinfoil hat snugly on my head, like maybe they were trying to pass him for Pitts or Sewell. Oh, it makes sense now. Thank you, Michael.
I think if they traded up to 3, I don't think they're trading back. They're gonna take someone in 3. I mean, short of like, I don't know, like the guys they wanted, up into the draft, getting like Mono or something. I don't know. Like,
how good would Pitts have to be for the Niners to take him over a quarterback? If he was Calvin Johnson, could they justify it? If he was straight up Calvin Johnson, could they justify it?
I think, to me, in my opinion, like if you don't have the quarterback in the NFL,
why are you disrespecting Josh Rosen like that? What did he do to you? He's a kid.
I think if Josh Rosen was enough, he would have shown it by now. He would have.
Man, that's so harsh. It used to be back in my day when I was a kid. Used to give these quarterbacks a few years. Now it's like, hey, man, you better show something in the first 15 minutes or we are drafting someone else next year. That's just how it goes. You better show something. Josh, you didn't show it.
This game's easier now than quarterbacks.
It's true. It is easy.
You gotta. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy.
And it's the rookie wage scale thing too. They don't have time, man. They're trying to get you on the field while you're cheap now. And if it takes you 8 years to be good, it's like, man, well, you'll be someone else's project. And I can't. Sorry. We need someone who can play now, I think.
Yeah. So,
Michael, keep sending me $5 telling me the Niners are going to take Pitts. So I love it, man. It makes my day.
You can draft him in Madden.
Yeah, I'm going to. What I used to do in Madden, I haven't played Madden since 2004, since Vic was on the cover, whatever one that was. But I used to always do a creative team and draft Kyle Bowler and take him to the Pro Bowl. He was so good. Cannon. All right. The NFL quarterback landscape. That might have been 2003. We never got to this topic. It seems to me that, especially in the NFC, the elite quarterbacks are all older than 35, and it's really wide open. If the Niners could be the team that actually gets it right in the draft, it's them and what? Arizona, Cleveland. Who are the teams in the NFC that have a future at quarterback?
I think you got to think about it this way. Who are the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now? I think off the bat: Mahomes, Brady, Wilson,
Allen,
Rodgers,
yeah.
and maybe if you want to put like Watson, but okay, so we don't know what's going to go on with Watson. Watson can go from anywhere from not playing this year to playing this year to
never playing again to
if he never plays again in this league, think of the void that will be out of that whole
crazy.
Now the next
that's why I never understood when people said that the Texans did this on purpose to sabotage them. Like, no, this sabotages them. Like, they're done. What is their? They got nothing.
Can't even
they
trade
suck.
Him. Can't even trade him.
You can't even. It's the worst thing that could have happened to him, but it's also the worst thing that could have happened to the Texans. This is terrible. Anyway, keep going.
And so now you're talking about maybe you're talking about Lamar Jackson. Maybe I think to me Lamar Jackson is a guaranteed top 5. I think he can play him. He plays himself into the top around that area, but he can play anywhere from like the top, like fringe 5 all the way to like 15-ish or something like that.
Yeah.
Like after that, it's kind of cloudy. Is Josh Allen, like, is he going to take the step? We've seen one really good year from him. Like, what's Justin Herbert going to do?
Exactly. If Josh Allen came, I was just thinking that this morning. If Josh Allen has like a mediocre season next year, what's the narrative going to be on him and quarterback scouting? I feel like Josh Allen hitting last year has changed everyone's process. Like, okay, well, forget what you know about quarterback scouting, just draft the biggest dude with the strongest arm. Well, what if he falls back next year? It's like, okay, well, we were wrong, and now our process is messed up, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Brees retired. He was a top 10 quarterback, so now there's a void right there. I mean, I don't think Ben Roethlisberger is a top 10 quarterback anymore, so he's fallen off. I just think after 5 or 6, it gets really cloudy, and if you draft the right guy, I think he could play himself. He might be able to play himself. Maybe not necessarily this year, but the following year, I think he could probably maybe play himself into the top 10 because there's a quarterback void now with the guys retiring, guys falling off.
Brees is out. Brady's going to be gone in a couple of years, most likely. Although hard to say.
Philip Rivers retired.
Roethlisberger leaving. I'm just trying to think about the NFC though. Aaron Rodgers, a few more years, not that much longer. Russell Wilson, starting to get into. I mean, he's my age. I know how it feels. He's getting a little older. Yeah, I mean, all the really talented young guys.
Kyler Murray. Is Kyler Murray that good?
Is he that good is my question. I mean, Lamar Jackson consistently has better passing numbers than him. Consistently. So I don't know. When you watch Kyler Murray on film too, it's like there's an open receiver he didn't see. There's an open receiver he didn't see. There's an open receiver he didn't see. But he's still holding the ball, and something good could happen. But it's like, dude.
Yeah. Dak. I mean, Dak can play himself into the top 10. I don't ever consider Dak a top 5, but he can play himself. He's like a guy he plays for himself from like the top 15, into the top 5, top 6, some 6 to 10, somewhere between 6 and 15, I think.
Dak's a hell of a quarterback. I like him.
Yeah,
he's one of the ones in the NFC. But let's see, he just broke his leg. Let's see what kind of mobility he's got.
Yeah.
So if the Niners can get this right, if they get Kellen Mond, they're set up for the next 15 minutes. Have you watched his interview with Chris Sims yet? I haven't, but
no, Kellen Mond. No.
Yeah, it's 40 minutes. I was gonna watch that. I was like, the first off is they started talking about Texas A&M in Texas. I was like, I'm gonna come back to this later. Yeah. So I went to Texas A&M and you went to Texas. We were rivals. We be like, can we come on, man, Chris? No one cares. But I love you, Chris. I'm just saying. Yeah. Dupe says, why do you want the Niners to draft Kyle Pitts? Oh, love this question. Granted, he is talented, but 2021 is the year for quarterback prospects. 2022 has no top quarterback prospects. The only way I can put it is I feel like Kyle Pitts is one of these prospects who, if you were putting them on a number scale, he'd be like a 98. He's that good. Maybe I'm overstating it. I think Sewell's that good too. And the quarterbacks, I feel like they're all like 91s. And so I'm taking BPA. And the thing about it is you could say, Mac Jones in 91, Trey Lance in 91. So is Kellen Mond. What is the drop off? But I don't do this for a living. I'm just an honorary quality control.
Pitts is a slam dunk.
It's a windmill dunk. He's a 360 dunk, dude. It's so easy.
I just think, what's your goal? If your goal is to win a Super Bowl, I think you got to try to find the quarterback, and you can't. It's very difficult to find them. If you look at about the top guys in the top 5 not having a lot of success, if you look at the guys that are drafted outside of the first round and in second and third, like the Drew Breeses are rare. They're super rare.
Agreed. That's why you trade back into the first round for Kellen Mond, and you give Josh Rosen a chance because he was the 10th pick in the draft, and he is handsome. Handsome.
In order to hit it, I think in a quarterback in the second round, like you really have to draft a second or third round quarterback every year.
True, and that's why I'm saying Mond first round pick. I think he's going to be. That's my little.
No, I
Mills might too.
I think Mond might end up being a first round pick, a late first round pick.
The way he throws the ball is very Lamar Jackson-y to me. Just the whole release setup. I mean, Lamar Jackson isn't the most natural thrower, but he's really worked hard on his mechanics, and it's made him a functional thrower who's accurate enough. That's the way I look at Kellen Mond. Now, he doesn't have Lamar Jackson's athleticism, but got a nice little skill set. I'm going to stop talking about Kellen Mond because we have another question about Kyle Pitts. Oh, it's my lucky day.
Hey, will Green Bay take another quarterback in the first?
Oh, I hope they will because I can't wait to see Jordan Love in preseason. I'm skeptical. Noah says, is Pitts Megatron 2.0? Yes. If you take him, if so, you take him. Agree. Adding a quarterback early and keeping Jimmy would be divisive. Ooh, we're getting into psychology. Let Jimmy get hurt and roll in one of your backups. Hey, man, I think you just sold me on the Niners taking Kyle Pitts. I was on the fence, but Noah said it like that, and I'm like, all right, man, that's fine. Yeah, I just feel like a lot of quarterbacks. How could you any starter with Pitts, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, and Mostert, man, you gotta be terrible to not win 11 games with that. Just terrible. That bad. I don't know. Nate Sudfeld might not be able to do it, but Rosen? I hear he's working hard this offseason. I didn't hear that, actually. I don't know. I wish. I hope. Josh, stop watching my show and go work out. I know I'm entertaining. We got one more. I hope it's about Pitts. Come on, be about Pitts. All right, hold on. Kyler's miracle throw was a toss-on, like 2nd and 10 with time left to gain yards or throw it away and chase the throw into triple coverage.
Kyler's miracle throw?
Yeah, the one he had to DeAndre Hopkins. I guess he wasn't that impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it was a regular season game, right? So
I've seen Kyler in person. He's a great scrambler, man. He's very hard to corral, and he beat the Niners week 1 this year, basically running around. But as a thrower, he's got a very strong arm. Other than that, he's not the most advanced quarterback in the league.
No,
but
I don't think so.
What he's showing is if you can scramble around and throw down the field, you can make plays in this league. And how many guys can really do that?
My question with Kyler Murray is, like, when he gets paid and he gets paid like a premium quarterback, what can he win then when they can't put these players around him? So that remains to be seen.
He hasn't even won on the rookie scale, man.
He hasn't even won now. Like,
we might need to pump the brakes on Kyler Murray. It'll be very interesting. A lot of people are expecting the Cardinals to make this jump this year. We'll see. They got AJ Green, JJ Watt, James Conner. A lot of pressure on the kid. See what he's got. He's little, man. He's so little. So we'll see. He doesn't really throw over the middle. It's wide open. No. All right. Last one. I've been talking about quarterbacks a lot, but I feel like a lot of times people feel like, as long as you get the right coach, you'll be fine. Quarterback is entertaining. I think you don't think that's the case, right?
No, I think the quarterback makes the coach. I don't think the coach makes the quarterback. I think if you look at the history of Super Bowl winners, the majority of Super Bowl winners are Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They're big time quarterbacks. You're more apt to find an average coach winning a Super Bowl than an average quarterback.
Yes. Look at Bruce Arians. I mean, nothing against Bruce Arians, but he just won a Super Bowl. Now he looks like a genius, and he's not a genius.
Bruce Arians was awesome when he had Tom Brady and when he had Andrew Luck. And
yes,
I don't.
And Roethlisberger.
Ben Roethlisberger.
And Palmer.
Andrew Luck didn't win a Super Bowl, but
no.
Fortunately, he got injured. But Andrew Luck was awesome. I think he's
so great.
Underappreciated quarterbacks out there.
They ruined him in Indy.
Bill Belichick. It remains to be seen. What can he do without Tom?
He's looked at as this genius, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe you're just a coach.
Tony Dungy couldn't get it done until he met Peyton Manning.
True. And he was a very good coach, but didn't win a Super Bowl.
No, Mike
Didn't win
McCarthy.
a Super Bowl. The most mediocre coach of all time, and that might even be a compliment to call him mediocre. I mean,
how great really is Pete Carroll? Like, if they Wilson, how relevant is Seattle going to be?
Yeah, like if they had never lucked into Russell Wilson, their quarterback would have been Tavares Jackson or Matt Flynn, and they would have been winning like 6-7 games a year.
Yeah, that's why I don't like. I don't fault Kyle Shanahan for losing the Super Bowl because of play calling. I fault him when losing the Super Bowl because he didn't have the appropriate quarterback. Like, he didn't come into that fight with the right weapon. He went to a gunfight with a knife, and like that's really not gonna get it done. And it's not if you're.
I'll give him that for the one 2 years ago, but the one in Atlanta, dude, you were in field goal range and you took like 4 sacks in a row. Like, I don't want to hear that. Matt Ryan was balling in that Super Bowl, but Jimmy was, he turned into a pumpkin. It was like the clock struck midnight on that dude.
This decision is really going to define, I think, Kyle's career. I think that he has to find. I mean, even to me, like I know Bill Walsh created the West Coast offense and all of that, but his great talent was finding quarterbacks. Was sprint right option an awesome play, or was it really like Joe Montana making an awesome play and Dwight Clark making an awesome
play? True. Was flanker drive an awesome play, or was Jerry Rice an amazing draft pick by Bill Walsh? Yes.
Right. That's what an amazing coach does. Amazing coach will find great players and then put them in position to win. But finding them is the first thing. Like, when Alabama hired Nick Saban, I think he said the athletic director, "Do you think you're going to get the greatest coach in the United States?" And the guy said, "Yeah." And Saban said, "No, but you are getting the greatest recruiter in the United States."
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's easy to evolve when you're like, well, I guess I should just incorporate my 5-star wide receivers a little bit more. What do you think? Yeah, probably that's a smart move.
Get the best player. And in the NFL,
I'm not really throwing to my 5-star wide receivers that I'm recruiting. Maybe I should throw to them a little bit more. Genius. Yeah, good job, Nick. You figured it out. Crack the code. No, but honestly, he's flexible. And that's key because honestly, I feel like Kyle isn't. And the reason I think people think he's going to take Mac Jones is because he really hasn't wanted to change anything about this team since 2019. And to take Trey Lance or Justin Fields, I think most people feel like Kyle would have to, not evolve, but just tailor things to their strengths a little bit more. And he can, and he should, and he's done it in the past, and good coaches do, and yada, yada, yada. He doesn't want to. This team, he's got a grudge. He's still on the revenge tour, man. And you can't be changing things when you're on a revenge tour. The whole thing is to do it exactly the same and prove that you should have won. That's what a revenge tour is, I think.
Right. The thing about it is if you find the awesome quarterback, you're still going to get credit. Like Sean Payton still gets credit for because things Drew Brees does. Like Reed, like Mahomes is awesome, right? But Reed gets so much credit, right? He still gets credit.
True.
Like, it's not terrible.
McCarthy got credit for Rodgers for years. Rodgers. He brought his hands down. He lowered Rodgers' hands a little bit. He seasoned him on the bench. Okay.
Ride that dude's coattails, man.
Yes, please do.
Like, don't try to take Mac Jones and say, "Oh, I'm the guy." Like it's me. I'm calling play. Like get the
Nick Mullins all over again
and make him like let him make you look awesome. Like
yes, yeah. Yep. I don't see people bringing up Trey Lance's bad game against Central Arkansas last year as a concern. Is it a big deal? Yeah, it's a concern. The dude played 17 games. The most recent one was not good. Scary, man. Scary stuff. He could be a hell of a player, but all of these guys at the top of the draft are like, I don't know, scary.
Yeah, there's questions with all of them. Aside.
And you're going to take one of these dudes over the best tight end I've ever seen in my life. Man, couldn't be me. What's up, Keith? Warriors did revenge tour and acquired Durant. Oh, that's true.
Different sport, though.
Yes, Keith.
Yeah.
Stop trying to confuse the issue here, Keith. No, that's a good point, though.
Yeah. Lowered expectations, to
So I used to love that little clip on Saturday Night Live. So here's the thing. we're going to see if what we're saying basically is that Shanahan is overrated in the sense that all coaches are overrated. And what he needs to do is swallow his pride and bring in a real quarterback. And if he doesn't quite fit the offense the Niners have been running the last couple of years, and make it work, dude. You're great. You're supposed to be. Make it work. We'll see if he can. I think a lot of people thought Adam Gase was a great coach, offensive guy. And then as time went on, he ruined his own reputation. I hope Kyle doesn't do that to himself and he's not the next Adam Gase or something like that, because get this right. You got to get this right.
I hope not. I mean, I do think Kyle's a good coach. I do think he can be a little overrated. I think people put him on a pedestal. But I think this is definitely the defining moment in his career. Like, it's this right. Yeah. His ascent will continue. If he gets it wrong, he can easily find himself back in an OC position in a couple years.
What you're saying is they put him on a pedestal. It's like, why would you put any coach on a pedestal? Why would you put Bill Belichick on a pedestal? Look at him now. Look at him now. People were saying he was the best coach of all time. He might be, but let's see what he does without Tom Brady, right? I mean, Joe Gibbs is the exception. Joe Gibbs should probably be talked about in higher, with more praise. The guy won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. No one does that. No one does that. And none of them were great.
Yeah, I think. Parcells won it with 2 different? I think 2 different. Sims and Hostetler.
Yeah. That's impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive. Impressive. Parcells did not win a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick, though.
True. It's all very complicated, but it's interesting, man. All right, man. I think that's our show for the day. Thanks for doing it early today. You didn't have too much going on over there, over on the East Coast?
It's spring. Weather's starting to get nice. It's a little cold today, but is it Friday? I always lose track.
It feels like it's Friday. Don't get fired.
Yeah.
On Friday.
I always lose track of time now. It's still during COVID times. I don't, all the days seem to just blend together.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We'll do it again next week, same time. Maybe not the same time, but same day.
Yeah, same day.
Yeah. All right.
Same bat channel, all that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll be back later. See you guys.
Yep.